Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Bits and Banter. We promised that we'll be more regular, but then it was a manifesto promise. So there you go. Anyways, so what are we discussing today? Bala, good morning.
Good morning, Raj.
Yeah, we are going to discuss anthropology. No, I
What?
got that wrong. I got that wrong. Sorry. We are discussing anthologies. Sounds same, no? So anthology of movies in OTT, but then yeah, it also is related to anthropology because anthropology is the study of human behavior. We are going to study the behavior of anthologies on OTT platforms. So Bala,
Yeah, in
first
a
words,
sense,
quick.
yeah, in a sense, you're also right because many of the anthologies also go into human behavior because they are shorts and they kind of delve into human behavior. But anyway, talking about OTT on a morning after a cabinet expansion, after Federer's agonizing loss and England's great journey into the final of Euros, it's interesting. This in itself is a kind of an anthology. Yeah, but
Yeah,
anyway, we'll
yeah.
get serious, but because we need to talk about OTT anthology because anthologies are getting very popular, and as it happens, we have a big anthology of Raj, anthology of 9 short stories, nine short films. It's going to be aired on Netflix sometime in August. It's going to be presented by Mani Ratnam, and it has some of the best and most talented names from southern film industry, especially Tamil Nadu. So you are right. Anthologies are because one of the reasons why we got about discussing anthologies is the real trigger was couple of Raj and I had a discussion over 2 anthologies, specific anthologies. One was Ray on Netflix and another was Aanum Pennum on Amazon Prime. We, as usual, we got when we talk films between ourselves on phone, we got agitated because we almost we also almost came to the equivalent of blows because we didn't agree on, especially on Aanum Pennum, because Raj was quite, he was quite happy with the Aanum Pennum. Why I felt it was to be slightly me because it was underwhelming. I felt it was, it's 2 different people, 2 different opinions, which is absolutely fine. But we are beyond that. We got to talking about anthologies, whether they are really working or is it just a kind of a short road because that is what the OTT platform allows them or enjoins them to do. So one of those things, because what we felt was it was not an organic growth. That is what we kind of felt because people are slightly, their attention spans are diminishing. So the short stories and short films kind of help them. So in that sense, it's okay. But when you force fit 4 different stories under a particular kind of a rubric, it doesn't sound organic. So we found shorts to be interesting. We also had our problems. Is that a good summation, Raj?
Yeah, it is. You have summed up the entire thing. I don't have anything to say. We might as well close the program. But then, jokes apart, see, Bala, you mentioned Mani Ratnam piloting the next anthology. My question immediately is that how many of our directors actually have made short films in the past? They are completely inexperienced.
Yeah,
And that is showing today.
just to answer one point about with that, one of the persons is Karthik Subraj, whose Jagame Chandram got released on Netflix. He earned a spurs as a director through shorts.
Yeah, I know. I mean, there are off and on. There are, that way there are other people also, but I don't want to take names here. I mean, you think about it. I mean, all the guys who made, Anurag Kashyap has made short films. I mean, he was probably one of the first ones who got involved in a short film, which was called Lust Stories. So, that is the thing. But then how many of the guys who are making these movies, they actually have made short films in the past? And what have been the response to those? I don't think these guys themselves watch those movies. I mean, if you look at the global filmmakers, whether it is a Martin Scorsese, Christopher Nolan, take the best of directors of the world, and they have all gone through the shorts to the full length movies. That doesn't happen in India, and this is, to me, that is the problem, because we have OTT, sort of like Bala, you said, OTT actually is a great platform for making anthologies, short films, 4 of them, the same theme, all of that. The point is, I don't think there is enough effort being put in on the scripting, or there is even a discussion between the 4 or 5 directors who sort of join hands and make that. Because you see, even in something like a love story, there were 4 tales, and all 4 of them, to me, looked underdone, actually. There was nothing. See, now you had a character who was having a sexual relationship with a boy. Now, isn't that illegal in this country? There is no talk about it.
Now it isn't.
I mean, my point is, it's very, very weird. I don't see a crack. I mean, I don't see these guys sort of working as a team and making these anthologies, which is why we have a problem. I mean, classic example I'll give you is Unpaused. There were again 4 or 5 stories, but I don't think the directors even probably sat down and talked to each other.
I'll just ask you another question, Raj.
Yeah.
On that specific, because whether there is some kind of a large, broad-based coordination between directors. I mean, once they decide on the topic, should the directors be actually coordinating? I mean, you decide if the say theme is on love or women empowerment, whatever they mean. I go out and make a story. You go out and make a story. Should I and you be coordinating?
I think they should, because I mean, I am talking about one of the most one of the brilliant anthologies that I've seen in my life till now was called Modern Love. It is available on Netflix.
Yeah, it's one of those popular things.
Yeah, I mean, it was based on a column that used to come called Modern Love that used to come in New York Times.
Exactly.
It had great actors and it had great directors also. I mean, it is not that it was all done by one person, but then you could actually see the story move from one to the other, and it was interesting. It is some sort of a journey that you are going through. There is no jerkiness in that. I mean, the point is, what is connecting these 4 stories? Tomorrow, you and I can sit and make an anthology. One can be about a vegetable vendor in Coimbatore market, who probably is on the verge of bankruptcy because of COVID, and I can make one on somebody else doing something else. I mean, some connection should be there. No, here what happens is it is very, very open-ended. That is where I have a problem.
I don't have a problem with because open-endedness is built into short stories. See.
One second. Yeah. Open-endedness is built into short stories. But here you are making an anthology of films, Bala. That is the difference. It is the same film. It is, if you are making I'll give you an example. I mean, I don't know whether you remember Das Kahaniya on Doordarshan. I don't know where it came. Yeah. That was fantastic, because there I found that it was running in a certain way. We knew that the stories were different, the behaviors were different, the actors were different, directors were different. It was fine. Here it is 2 hours. You are seeing it at one stretch. My point is that you are presenting it as a movie, not as a sequential. That is where the problem is.
Overcritical, because when you have 4 different directors, there are going to be 4 different sensibilities. Say, for example, we had something called
Paava Kadhaigal. About sensibilities.
No, Raj, I'll finish. But we had Paava Kadhaigal on Netflix, which was held by 4 different Tamil directors. Yeah. One was Vetrimaran and Gautam. Just to take 2 of those popular names, Gautam Vasudev Menon and Vetrimaran. See, in terms of sensibilities as directors, they bring 2 extreme emotion. I mean, 2 extreme ideas to the table, and which is fine. That is how.
I think you mistook me. Yeah, okay. I think you mistook me. This is not what I'm saying. My problem is that there is a thread there. Paava Kadhaigal means something. We are talking about a theme around which this entire story is built, right? Now, that is where, if you see Ray, for example, the only theme there is Ray. Satyajit Ray, right? Now,
which incidentally, the Ray anthology worked for me, which it didn't.
It worked for me also. But the 4 stories that they took weren't interconnected. I mean, you couldn't see a connection. See, you could have made
because the connection was basically Ray's short stories.
That is the point. That is where I have a problem. So Ray's short films, Ray has done fantastic short stories which you could have chosen better. See, here what happens, none of the stories is connected to the other. There is no progression happening in the story.
But by their very nature,
in Paava Kadhaigal,
because these shorts by their very nature, because we have
Bala, you're still not getting it. No. As an anthology.
As an anthology, I'm saying precisely. Just let me
okay.
See, this kind of a differentiation, this kind of a slight unconnected, though they are kind of, as you use the word umbilical cord, connecting these stories, there is also a disconnect because there are 4 different individuals.
That is fine. You're still not getting the point.
I'm saying, all I'm saying, you're not getting it. All I'm saying is there is bound to be that certain kind of jerkiness in terms of disconnect.
No, Bala, the problem is not that. It is not the disconnect. There is no umbilical cord. That is my problem. If there is, Paava Kadhaigal worked for me because there is an umbilical cord in the story.
My problem with shorts is not this jerkiness of this thing. My shorts, some of these shorts are so underwhelming. For me, Aanum Pennum, I'll specifically take Aanum Pennum. Especially
we'll get to that. No, hang on. Let us finish this.
See, because I want to make this point because
we'll come to that.
The shorts didn't work for me was the story itself that the basic problem for me was it didn't work for me as a short.
See, that is the point. No, that is the second problem. We'll come to that. We'll wind up with that. I'm just going with this point that, see, the story not being complete is, well, we'll come to that. My problem is, first, when you choose these 4 stories or 5 stories, there needs to be, see, that is what I'm realizing, I'm seeing in the Western world, when in Hollywood, where I think they sit together. I don't know. We either, obviously, we don't know how things are done there, how things are done here. We are talking through our hat. My point is, I somehow feel that, I mean, I'm not bothered about the treatment, because the treatment has to be different. What I'm bothered about is that flow of the theme that goes through this thing. Now, I will get to Aanum Pennum. Let me start with Aanum Pennum. We'll go there next.
Just because
We'll go there next. Hang on.
Before Aanum Pennum, there is, you say there is no connectedness, because I see this as some kind of a Onam Sadhya generally.
That is where the thing. No, that is not.
See, you may like one item or you may not like, but it is all part of one.
See, the Onam Sadhya is the theme there. In Onam Sadhya, you can have 10 mean. Here, what happens is, you are serving me up something which is not like, see, in Onam Sadhya. Let me give you an example. If I put paneer butter masala in that, how would
it won't work, man.
That is the point. That is the point.
But it is
Onam Sadhya.
It is not as bad as, I mean, the example that you are giving is very extreme.
It's not bad. See, paneer butter masala is a fantastic dish.
I'm not saying, I mean, it doesn't belong there. No.
That is the point. That is exactly the point. It doesn't belong there. That I wanted you to say that. Now we come to the same page.
No,
it doesn't belong there. That's all I'm saying.
Example is, I mean, take the example of Ray, because they all belong there.
So no, they did not belong there. See, my point is, Ray has written some fantastic, I mean, if you have gone through Ray's short stories, he has written some fantastic stuff around each of those themes. There are 3-4 stories which he has written on each of those themes. You pick up a theme and then you run it and give it to different directors. Let them deal it with the way they want, because they bring their sensibilities. I would love that. Here it is.
Before we go to the final segment and talk about Aanum Pennum, I want to ask you one point. See, when you direct a short, it calls for a different kind of a skill, because in terms of writing, when you're writing a novel, big novel and a short story.
I agree, Bala.
I'm asking you a question. I'm not discussing this. So are our directors actually capable of that?
No, that I don't know, because they need to sort of work on some more. We need to see more of their original shots. So if I tell you that, look, I mean, the short movies that they make as part of the anthology, they work for me as individual films, not as an anthology. What would you say?
Yeah,
some of them work. I mean, Karan Johar's this thing didn't work for me in Lust Stories, but Anurag Kashyap's and the other 2 guys, it worked for me. The first one didn't work for me that well, but the others did work for me. Same way.
Even Ajeeb Dastaans, only one thing worked. Only one thing worked. See, you had Pitta, I mean, something equivalent of that in Telugu also, that didn't work because it was
Unpaused. See, Unpaused also. Unpaused, there were some 2 stories which sort of, they sort of resonated. The other 2 were completely out of whack, because I don't even think they belong there.
Would you categorize Ludo as
it's not an anthology? I don't know.
Would you categorize?
I won't.
Because 4 different stories kind of mingling.
They converge. I don't mind that. So, I mean, they converge. I don't mind that. So, I just wanted to tell you this. See, now, in Aanum Pennum, we'll go to the last segment. Aanum Pennum, what happened is, see, the sexuality of a woman and how she uses the sexuality was, to me, the theme. The problem was that, like you said, Bala, there were 3 stories, 2 of which needed to have some sort of a context which wasn't there in my mind. So, which is the last point I wanted to make, that yes, it didn't work. I mean, you and I can disagree, and that's fine. But the reason why it didn't work is because probably these fellows, they said, okay, let us make an anthology, right? Anthology fashion, now we'll make only anthologies. Now, that is where I have a problem. So I think that is why some of these issues are cropping up, because I think it is, you make an anthology when you really, really think that there are, somebody is in charge. Even if 4 directors are in charge, there should be somebody who's up there saying, okay, I'm making these decisions. Somebody needs to be in charge. Is what I feel.
So you need a Minister of Cooperation.
Yeah, I know. And we have a good one nowadays.
You have a new minister.
At home. No pun. So this is what it is. See, I think there is a long way for us to go in anthologies. and which is why some of it doesn't work for us, and that is fine. I think it is perfectly fine when something doesn't work.
But I'm very happy with the anthology because, see, as
The
by
time
everyone
pass.
else, because 1 hour, my threshold, attention threshold is these days limited to an hour. So it kind of helps me. It is a very, very personal thing. It is.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it is for everyone. It works for me, but some as a movie, standalone movie, as a standalone thing, some of it works, some of it don't work. But I'm more inclined towards anthologies, which is understandable, and that is. I guess that is also the case generally. That is why these OTT platforms are
Exactly. See, because
them.
suddenly they not returning; they're coming to them for the first time.
No, turning to them. I didn't
Turning,
say.
yeah. Sorry, I'm my mistake.
It's okay.
So anthropology is not working anyway. so I think on the final word for us from our side is please keep making them, because we enjoy watching it. It is just that have a Minister of Cooperation who's ensuring that everybody cooperates. I think we'll put it there.
Yeah,
Any,
No, because I'm looking forward to this Navarasa, because it's not just a small, it's a huge thing. 9 Navarasa has obviously 9 different emotions, and one of those biggest thing, because all those top names in Tamil Nadu are working. So I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it will be obviously patchy because 9 different directors.
I would love that. See, Navarasa itself is a great theme. So I mean, if you remember, what was Shivaji Ganeshan movie, Navaratri, and which was made into Hindi as Nayadin Nairat with Sanjeev Kumar. All the Navarasas came in there, but it was one director, one actor, one actress. And I mean, the actor playing different roles, the actress traveling through that entire journey. That was the story. That was it. So in a way, it was a sort of
basically anthologies are kind of Navaratna Korma.
Yeah. So Navaratna Korma. So the point is that some of them may be not good for anthologies. The story probably has
and that's
much
a
more
point.
meat.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
some of them are not meant for that.
Yes. So a short needs to be short.
That is where
that
my
is a profound statement. That is a profound statement.
My problem with the Aanum
Yeah, I agree to that. That point I agree. Because they probably were not meant for shorts. That
because
is the point.
You had a point about them being historically significant. People who knew
Kerala without building it.
That would have helped.
Yes, without building the backstory, without building it. I mean, like I said, no, what is that? What is the other one? Lust Stories. The first one for me was very weird because I mean, it's about a teacher who starts having an affair, and she asks the student once, she says, "I'm married, get lost." In the end, I mean, okay, this much. What are we talking about here? No context, no nothing. Is she? Who is she? I mean, sexually free. Yes, I'm fine. Everything is fine there.
See, these shots have to have that sting in the tail because Aanum Pennum in the third story, you have that
there was a sting
intelligence
twist. And not, for me, the intelligence twist more than that was that comment which that lady made. No spoiler alert here, where she says, "I mean, you sit and cry here. I'm going." And she just ironically, she just doesn't happen to have any piece of clothing on her. So, but she still says, I'm going to find solutions. That shows
that's other part. But I was very this Nedumudi Venu and
that was, I mean, we let us not. I understand. Even that was see, what I told you was also a sting because you don't expect that to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
The Darshana Rajendran character was much more molded and rounded.
So see, that is the thing. The other two, you didn't allow them to mold or round. You just sort of started, and then you spend too much time building up in those characters. So in a way, you are right. If we come to the scripting, whether it is Parvati or the other girl, I mean, the other girl, you didn't spend any time. This case, you spend too much time building her up as to who she is. What I mean, by that time, the time was over. Hey, it became like that.
On that note, Javier also run out of time.
Yeah, and we'll see you next week and or soon. And we'll keep our promise, hopefully.
Yes.
So see you. Thanks a lot, Bala. We'll
pleasure
keep watching, keep seeing, and keep liking, keep sharing, keep safe. That's all I'll say. Bye.
Bye.